another day, another beer review. And this one is one of the big ones, yeah. Feels good in the hand, this. This is a pint can of Arbor to Why Kick a Moo Cow. Why Kick a Moo Cow? Why Kick a Moo Cow? This is a New Zealand hopped Pale Ale, 5.5%. But what's it going to be like? Keep watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we are going to Arbor Ales in Bristol and their signature pint cans. 568 mils of beer, and my God, it just feels really good in the hand. And that sounds a bit rude, but it just feels really good in your hand. A big pint can, you feel the weight there. It's like a couple of these, you'd be, lifting, you'd be like doing curls with these, you soon get those muscles up. But this is a New Zealand Pale Ale. It's coming at 5.5%. It doesn't actually say what hops it is, but when I bought it, I made a note of it, and it's got Muteca, Nelson Sauvin, and Rakau. Probably the three biggest of the New Zealand hops, all packed together in a 5.5% Pale Ale. And this is what I want today. I want a big pint of beer. I want it with New Zealand hops, and Pale Ale means it's a nice, easy drinking sort of beer. So we've got the big glass out for this boy, and I'm hoping this is good because. It's been a while since I've had an Arbor Ales. Always consistently good. Obviously, great value for money. They're reasonably priced. Let me check. I've got my list here of how much I paid for this. Where is it on the list? Yeah, I mean £4.25. That's pretty good value for a pint of beer. When you think that this is 568 mils compared with 440 mils, there's a lot more beer in there. Even compare with like your Rivingtons and your Dayers with their 500 mil cans, there's still another 68 mil. So you're getting some value for money. But let's check this out. Beer in a glass. Well, we've got a sort of orangey coloured, slightly hazy. Slightly hazy. Not as hazy as a lot of beers, but it is a pale ale. But it's a fairly hazy pale ale. 2 fingers. Fairly compacted white head. Looks pretty good in a glass. Would have liked it looking a little bit yellowy, lighter and stuff like that. But, let's see what it smells like. Yeah, I mean, for a pale ale, not huge hits of aroma. You're getting that sort of much more the sort of light citrus, lemons and lime citrus, grapefruits. There's also that sort of slight apple and pear sort of aroma as well. It smells good and fresh. Let's drink it. Cheers, everyone. It's fruity and it's refreshing. Fairly light, a little bit of zingy carbonation in there. I think it's a little cold for normally to get those flavours really coming out. Yeah, they're all a bit subdued. You would expect from a pale ale. I always find New Zealand pale ales compared with an IPA, the massive difference in the way that the hops really they really sing more on an IPA than do a pale ale. What you're left here with a lot more citrus notes. You're not really picking up the grape and gooseberry that you would for Nelson. You're not even picking up that sort of real sharpness of lime that you get with a Muteca. It's just a solid beer. And I know I paid £5.25 for it, for a pint of it, and I think that's good value. But this is not going to blow anyone's socks off in terms of being the best pale ale that you've ever drank. But it's a solid beer that's got a very citrusy, nice flavour to it. It's a fairly soft body. I think it was zippy carbonation. I think I was confused by the fact that I've not left it out long enough. It's really cold. It's cold in the hand even. But there's no doubting about it. There's not huge amounts of flavour with this. You're not getting the kick that you would if it was a New Zealand IPA. Really, I know what those hops can give, and I'm not really getting it from this. I'm getting some light lemony citrus flavours, the flavour is quite light, and so it's a little watery as well. So it doesn't really sort of stick around. You're not really getting much of the sort of cutting lime that you would expect from Muteca. You even get a little bit of orange coming in, a little bit of earthiness, but very little. You know, really what you'll get is a refreshing, fruity beer. And as I say, it's not going to win any awards. It's not going to be your best pale ale you've had. I mean, I'd almost say that certain supermarket pale ales could be equally as good, if not better than this. So your likes of, you know, certainly the Polly's one in Sainsbury's, even things like Faith, and even things like the Brew by Numbers pale ale, I think is a better pale ales than this. It's just lacking in a bit of flavour, but sometimes that's more about the fact that it's a pale ale. That's why I don't drink huge amounts of pale ales, because they just don't have the flavour. When you've started drinking IPAs, and especially double IPAs, and then you go and drink a pale ale, you think, oh, this has been watered down, it's very watery. Not necessarily what it is, it's a different type of beer, and it's lower in ABV. I thought this would be a bit more flavoursome because it's 5.5%, so it's at the higher end, I think, of a pale ale, where you usually get a little bit more flavours with it. The more I drink it, the more I think it's got a reasonably good body to it. Certainly for a pale ale, it's not overly fizzy, actually. It's softer than I first thought. It's just that the flavour just doesn't sort of stick. So, not bad. Cheap, big pint can, and I still think Arbor are a consistently good brewery. They make good beers. I think the one thing that I've had from was a double IPA with nectar on hop, if I remember rightly. I can't remember the name of it, but that was one that really sort of, to me, stuck out as being not just good, but almost great in terms of a beer. But a lot of their beers are just consistently good. You know you're going to get a good beer with them. I've never had anything that's like bad. It's just something like this is typical of some of their pale ales that just don't quite have the flavour. They don't quite have they're not hoppy enough, really, to really bring out the flavours that you would expect from a New Zealand. I'd like to see if they could do a Waikika Moo Cow expanded edition, like an IPA or certainly a double IPA, because I think you'd get a much better drink, because they do know how to make good beers. But I think obviously price points, the fact it's a pale ale, it's solid but not remarkable. Let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for Waikika Moo Cow. I don't know what that means. Waikika Moo Cow. Is that some sort of quote from some sort of film or something in popular culture? I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments if you know what that actually means. But this is a New Zealand pale ale with Muteca, Nelson Sauvin and Rawaka in it. You're not getting the big heights of those flavours. It is a pale ale. It's fruity. It's refreshing. But that's about it. Let's go for the scores, starting with aroma. Appearance. Flavour. Value for money, and my overall experience. Tighten the scores up. It's recommended. It's a solid pale ale, but as I said, I think I've said it about 6 times now. It's solid, but unremarkable, really. And so total score is worth buying for £4.25. You're getting a lot of beer for your money. And if you want something a little lighter in flavour, but also lighter in ABV, very drinkable, you want a big pint can, you just want that refreshment. You had a hard week at work, you come home and you just think, I don't want a chewy, dank sort of IPA, I want something fruity, light and refreshing. This is perfectly good for that. So let me know if you've had any recent Arbor Ales, because pint cans are great. Why don't more breweries do it? I don't know. Maybe they think that if they do that, they're going to go out of business quickly. It's amazing. You think that they're a brewery where they always make their beers in pint cans, or can their beers in these big pint cans. But they're always, I think, in terms of above average breweries, they're probably the best value for money anyway. Their prices are cheap. £4.25 for a pale ale. I mean, even a lot of their IPAs are less than £5 as well. And I've even seen some of their beers in pint cans for like less than £4. So very reasonable price. You get your value for money from an Arbor Ale. So I think they're a good brewery and they're ones to be supported. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you like it. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Lots more beer videos and rock stuff coming. And until the next one, you know what we're going to do. Drink good craft beer and keep on rocking.